Sage has an ambition for Sage CRM, and that ambition is to help it meet its business goals. And the business goals for Sage CRM is to allow our customers' businesses to flow. It is just to allow a simplification, a standardization for an organization, just allows them to get on with doing what they need to do in order to be a success. That idea is central to Sage CRM. That vision for Sage is central in the way in which we're working with the software and how we're developing it. All about simplification, allowing you as a customer to get on with doing what you need to do as a customer. Now, in order to do that, if you think about all the things that you have as an organization, as a customer, you have teams that need to ensure that everyone is following the best practices to allow no sales opportunity should be lost because somebody hasn't done the right thing. You want to ensure that the customer experience is absolutely dead on when it comes to a support experience as well, so that no sales opportunity is lost. Every customer is satisfied with the experience and all members of staff can just do their work without any additional superfluous worrying about the procedures that they need to follow. It should just flow. Now, at the heart of that ability to make a business flow are business rules. And these are the ideas of the operations and constraints that apply to an organization in achieving its goals. Now, it's a wise organization that knows what those operations and constraints should be that all staff should follow. Now, this presentation is getting you to think about those ideas, and it's encompassing of an entire suite of systems used by an organization. So I'm including in this idea everything that is paper-based, everything that applies to the back office system, like the Sage accounting system that you're using, whether that's Sage 200, Sage 300, Sage 100, Sage 50, whatever you're using, or Sage Intacct, or Sage X3. Or it doesn't matter either about what the front office system is that you're using, whether that's sales, marketing, customer service. Of course, this is where Sage CRM comes in. And strictly speaking, they also include both unsaid, unspoken rules that new members of staff have to learn when they start with a new employer. Now, I tend to group rules, the operational constraints, into a number of broad categories. Now, generally, certainly in this case, I'm not going to be too academic about trying to classify business rules, but I think it's useful to think about how broad and all-encompassing they are. And in turn, it may help understand how much Sage CRM can be used to implement and manage those rules across an organization. Now, the categories I break these into are policy rules, logic rules, process rules, and data rules. Now, you'll see how much or little of code is used in the implementation of these types of rules. And I want to ensure that this is largely going to be a codeless approach. Starting off with policy rules then. These are the rules that define what users can do, what, when, and how. And it might also cover security rights for a user and determine the work that team members can do. It'll also encompass the terminology that controls the interface. So if an organization uses particular words to describe different things, then that affects the prompts and captions that fall within policy rules. Consultants can have strange urges. Some folks are drawn to code like moths to a flame, but although that Sage CRM does have a very sophisticated set of interfaces that allow all sorts of rules to be implemented in code, the majority of business rules, especially policy rules, do not require if statements or a knowledge of scripting. So let's have a look at some examples of policy rules. So here's an example rule. The French interface must be available to all users in France and Canada. Well, there you go. That would be done through translations and captions. Users on the East Coast may not see West Coast data. You'd implement that in Sage CRM using security territories. An individual user may only edit an opportunity if it is assigned to them. Well, that's a security profile. Marketing teams may view an opportunity done through Teams. Only information managers may send out mass emails. Information managers are a type of super user. That would be something called the user level. Only display historic orders for companies imported from a previous system. Well, that would be a declaration inside what's called Tab SQL. Only account managers and their nominated co-workers can view communication history. That would be something called company teams. Display customers with a status stop in red. That's a little bit of scripting, but it is very declarative. It is very easy to do. Only finance staff may change customer status. Again, you could do that with a little bit of a script, but it isn't difficult to do. Table level scripts, field level scripts are examples of scripting, admittedly. Remind salespeople of cold calling policy when scheduling calls to leads. Workflow without any coding whatsoever. So that's policy rules, and now we come on to logic rules. Logic rules are perhaps the easiest to understand, as these are the rules that cover data integrity. And this is not just referential integrity, meaning a parent must have a child and a child must have a parent, but also how sensible is the data that is attempted to be stored in the system. For example, start dates for an event should be before the end date for an event. That's a logic rule. Logic rules tend to be the ones that might need some scripting, as we can see some of the examples below. So when linking a task to a company, you may not link it to an opportunity that belongs to a different company. And that's something called field SQL. Warn the user if they attempt to create a case for a company lacking a service level agreement. Again, that's a field level script. On any screen editing an opportunity, warn them if a credit limit has been broken. You could do that through table level scripts. And I have to say is that there is more than one way to skin a cat inside Sage CRM, so you may choose to implement something like that rule in a different way. And you may not log a case without a company. That would be done through workflow, and that wouldn't necessarily mean that you have any coding to do in that context. So those are some logic rule examples, and we can go on to think about process rules. Now, each item of data within a database can have a life cycle. Data has a life cycle. Data gets inserted, it is updated, and then it is ultimately deleted. In a system like Sage CRM, process rules help model the path that data takes during its life cycle. In Sage CRM, it's less likely that records such as an opportunity or a company would be deleted, but and then we tend not to do that because they are needed for historic reporting. But an item like a sales opportunity or a customer care issue does come to a final resolution through a series of updates and changes. The way in which these processes are controlled in Sage CRM is called workflow. But although Sage CRM has a feature called workflow, it is only part of the way in which the whole of a work process is managed within an organization. As we can see, there are other features in Sage CRM that can help control the organizational flow through our work. So the example would be an opportunity lead stage maximum certainty is 10%, an opportunity quote stage maximum certainty is 40%. So at different stages within an opportunity's life cycle, when the opportunity is a different stage, the maximum certainty value can be a different amount. That would be done through a field level script. Create a task as a lead is created. Oh, you do that through a table level script. Send an email to a support manager when a case is marked as closed. You could do that through workflow. Quite simple, short elements, not really hard code, but you can see there, this is examples of process. And then we have examples of data rules. And as their data is changed, there may be rules that are needed to be followed about the data itself. For example, should audit trails be kept of changes made? How to ensure that any data is of the correct type? Now, most data rules can be implemented without any code whatsoever. When you define a field in Sage CRM, the entry type determines the way in which that field behaves in the interface. For example, integer fields within Sage CRM will automatically provide the error handling if text is attempted to be entered into the field. Workflow on some entities like opportunities, leads, cases, and solutions provides some auditing as the record is progressed through a workflow. But there'll also be a need to code some data rules. You can see some of the examples here. When a company rating is changed, update the accounting system. Well, that could be done through a field level script. When a company is reassign the outstanding opportunities and communications. That can be done through a table level script. When a case is updated, write a tracking note into the progress table. Well, that's straightforward workflow. I certainly think that there's an argument for saying that the boundaries between each rule type is very fuzzy. And in the grand scheme of things, it's more important that we know the business rules for an organization, and we know that they're captured within the system so that the user's lives are simplified and an organization can just do its stuff. A business can just flow. That we classify them as logic or data rules is not important. But when we think about an organization and rules and the features that Sage CRM provides, we can see that Sage CRM provides a strong mechanism for allowing all of the rules, all of the implementation of them in a thorough and robust way will allow a business to flow. And finally, one of the features of Sage CRM that I love is that all of these business rules are defined in such a way as that it's very easy to report on the business rules that have been defined within the system. The rules are all defined in metadata tables. And these tables, like any other table in Sage CRM, can be reported on. And we can therefore at any time take stock of the rules defined within Sage CRM. Well, I hope that makes sense. I've covered here really quite a niche idea, and it's probably one of the most abstract sessions that I've presented on. But these are some of the intellectual thought processes that we go through in classifying how we implement an organization's business rules and constrain the operation of that organization within Sage CRM. And it is all of these sense of being able to capture that business and operational logic in such a way as to ensure an organization can provide its users, its staff, with the simplest life possible to allow them to just get on, meet the business needs, and to just allow an organization to flow, just get on with work, to be a success and be able to deliver on all of the business goals that you have. I do hope that this piques your interest in to learn more about the way in which Sage CRM can help you and your organization deliver on the control of an organization to allow you to maximize every member's of staff ability. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.